guys, welcome to all of you that have joined us recently. It is super exciting to see this little travel family growing, and welcome back to those of you that have been watching for a wee while now. So a couple of weeks ago, as you know, I went to Barcelona and I decided that to try and help some of you out, I would do a video on how expensive is Barcelona. I'm going to be running through some prices for basic bits with you. These are as of September 2016 and are subject to change, as I'm sure you're aware. And I'm going to be giving you prices in euros, but somewhere around my head I'm going to be flashing them up in other currencies as well. So if you are watching somewhere else in the world and you really haven't got a clue how much a euro is worth, hopefully one of the other currencies I give you will give you an idea of the costs. So we're going to start off with accommodation, because wherever you travel, accommodation is always going to be your biggest expense. I stayed with a friend in Barcelona, so for me my accommodation was completely free. If you can stay with a friend or couch surf, obviously this is going to be your best option. However, I realise this isn't possible for all of you, so your next cheapest option is going to be staying in a dorm, in a hostel. I've done just a very quick bit of research for you to give you a rough idea of how much you'll pay for a bed in a dorm. So for a hostel bed, from my research, it's coming in between 15 and 25 euros per night. That's quite a big range, and obviously what you get will depend on how much you pay. Some will include free breakfast and Wi-Fi, so you'll cut costs there. Going with an average of 20 euros a night, which is somewhere between the two, for 7 nights you will pay 140 euros for accommodation in Barcelona. Something else I will just point out for you is that if you're traveling with a friend or in a couple, Airbnb might actually be a cheaper option, and there are quite a lot when I had a little look on the website around Barcelona. If you want £25 off your first Airbnb stay, I have a code down in the box. You get £25 off and I get some credit as well to help me save money when I travel, so it's a win-win situation. Next up is transport, and Barcelona's a really easy city to get around. You can walk to quite a lot of places, although it's fairly big, so you may get tired legs. The other option that you do have is using either the metro or the bus. And Barcelona has a great option for this, which is a ticket called the T10, which allows you 10 journeys on either metro or bus, and it costs €9.95 for those 10 journeys. And it doesn't have to be just one per person, so if there's a group of 2 or 3 of you and you're not entirely sure how many journeys you're going to want to do with either of those modes of transport, you can buy one ticket and just share it. Obviously you just have to put it through the machine or scan it on the bus each time one of you uses it. Another option that I found is something called the Barcelona card, and this essentially covers all of your transport, and I think it also covers you to and from the airports, and it gives you discounts in certain restaurants and free entry into museums and places of interest. The cost varies depending on the number of days that you want it for. So for 3 days the Barcelona card will cost you 45 euros. For 4 days you're looking at 55 euros, and for 5 days you're looking at 60 euros, and I'll pop a link down there for you if you want to have a look at that. I'm a little bit mixed about this. In all honesty, I think similar to some of the other tourist cards out there, you're probably going to end up spending more than you will save on it. So if you're not sure how many journeys you're going to want to do by public transport or what exactly you want to do in the city, I think you're better off going with the T10 and just sort of playing it by ear. Food! Oh my god, the food in Barcelona is so good. It's amazing. Oh, I love it all. I love it all. Patatas bravas, tapas, pinchos. It's so good. Okay, so food isn't, I don't think, overly expensive. If you're coming from the UK or Australia, it will seem a bit cheaper. If you're coming from somewhere else, then it might seem a little bit pricey to you. I'm going to run through some of what I spent on food to give you an idea, and then some bits in supermarkets that I took down prices for. So we went out for lunch to a place called Sagadi, and we got 4 pinchos. There's a picture somewhere around, probably here. So 4 pinchos and a glass of white wine there at lunchtime was 11 euros, which, considering that includes the wine, I think that's really good. And they were delicious, absolutely delicious, and quite filling. So that's a good option if you want to eat out at lunchtime, get some pinchos or something like that. We saw various signs around the city advertising sort of deals on food, one of which I saw was offering bravas, so patatas bravas, which are amazing, and 2 beers for €5.50, which is insanely cheap. So have a little wander around and see if you can find any sort of deals on food. We did eat out in a restaurant twice while I was over there, and for 3 courses without any alcohol, I spent roughly €25 in nice restaurants. So if you do want to make a splurge and eat out somewhere nice, that's the sort of price range that you can look at spending without any alcohol included. And if you do want alcohol and want to hit up the cocktails, you can find some good deals there too. One of the cheapest we found was €3.50 for a big mojito. It was actually mostly rum. It wasn't that tasty, but there was a hell of a lot of alcohol. So if you want to get drunk, find the €3.50 mojitos. And cocktails generally go up to somewhere around €6, unless you're going to one of the really nice hotels and sitting on a rooftop and drinking overlooking the city, when you can expect obviously to pay a hell of a lot more. To save money on food, the best option is probably finding a hostel with free breakfast, then going to a supermarket and stocking up on supplies so you can make either sandwiches or take a picnic somewhere for lunch. There's a ton of parks around, or the beach, where you could sit and take food that you've made, and then maybe treat yourself in the evening to some food out in the city. Or alternatively, have lunch out, which might be a little bit cheaper, and cook dinner at your hostel. So in the supermarket, a couple of the prices that I took down were for various little bits and bobs. It's not an entire meal, it would be one seriously weird meal. But for 6 bottles of Estrella beer, you can expect to pay around €2.95. So buying alcohol in the supermarket is pretty cheap. A backpacker staple is always going to be pasta, and in Barcelona, the supermarket we went into, for 500 grams of pasta was just 57 cents, which will last you a good few meals, and it is so cheap. If you don't have a free breakfast or you want sweet sandwiches at lunchtime, you can expect to spend around €2.75 for a jar of Nutella. And if you're cooking dinner in the evening and you want fresh fruit and veg, the supermarket I looked in was about €1.29 for a bag of carrots, 99 cents for a lettuce, and €1.20 for a box of mushrooms. So that's not bad going. And if you've made friends in a hostel or you're with other people, then you can save by cooking together. So moving on from food, let's talk about attractions. There are a ton of things to see and do in Barcelona. Some you can pay to do and some are entirely free. So I'm going to run through a few of the ones that you pay for. So Sagrada Familia, obviously if you want to look around the outside, that is entirely free. And a top tip is just over the road is a beautiful park, and you can get really nice views from there. If you do want to have a little look inside, which I haven't actually done yet despite visiting 3 times, a ticket price for the basic ticket is €15, and that doesn't include an audio tour or going up higher for views. That's just the basic. Park Güell is one of my favourite spots to visit in Barcelona, and before it was entirely free to do so. Unfortunately, they have now put an entrance fee on the park. So to get in, it's €7, but just bear in mind that if you are going, you are going to need to either get the metro or the bus, so factor that cost in as well. Not the visit just gone, but the visit before. I did go into the Picasso Museum, which was amazing, and if you love art, it is a nice place to visit. And you can get a ticket for there for €11. But a top tip is that on the first Sunday of every month, it is entirely free entry, although do expect it to be busy because obviously everyone's going to go when it's free. Casa Batlló, which is one of the famous Gaudi buildings, you can actually go inside and have a look around. It's free to look on the street and take photos and everything. There will be a crowd of people, I am warning you now. But if you want to go inside, for an adult it's going to cost you €22.50, or for students with a valid student card it will be €19.50. So let's talk about some of the free stuff. As I've mentioned, there are parks in Barcelona and some of them are truly, truly beautiful. I highly recommend having a wander around in the sunshine, taking a picnic, just sitting and chilling in the park for a bit. It's gorgeous and it is entirely free. Another awesome thing to do that is free and won't cost you a penny is to go to the Magic Fountains. I put the proper name up here for you. And the Magic Fountains is like a water and light show. It happens at different times during the year, so you will need to just see what time the show is depending on the time of year that you're visiting, but it is really pretty and makes for some great photos. Another thing that you can do for free in Barcelona, apart from wandering around and seeing all the beautiful architecture, is visit some of the food markets. Mercat de la Boqueria, and I'm sure that's pronounced wrong, I'll put it up here, is probably the most famous indoor food market in Barcelona, and you can have a nice little wander around there. There's even sometimes things that you can try for free and just have a look at the amazing stuff that's on offer. So that should give you an idea of some of the activities and attractions that you can do and rough prices. If you are an arty person and you love museums and art galleries and stuff, there is a museum pass which will cost you 30 euros, and that gives you entry into 6 different museums, which roughly saves you around 28 euros. I haven't done this myself. There is a link down there if you're interested. Again, I'm wondering if it's one of those sort of tourist traps where you buy it thinking it's a great deal and actually you're never going to have time to do all of it and you probably lose a bit of money. But that's something you can research for yourself. I hope this has given you a bit of insight. If you do have any further questions, pop them down in the comments. I have got my blog back up online and I've recently written an article on why you should visit Barcelona. That's down there too. Thank you for watching. Until next time, much love, take care, bye! Number 1, if you are taking a gas cooker or stove, do not blow it up on your first night. Yeah, we actually managed to do this. We left Perth, we did the little bit of